In this video, I'm going to be telling you about every single elemental fruit in Blox food. I'm pretty sure most of you watching should already know how elemental fruits work. They're basically fruits that don't let people hit you unless they have hockey or they're a higher level than you. And a pretty cool thing about these fruits are that they are actually called Logia fruits in One Piece, but they had to rename because of copyright. But overall in the game, elemental fruits are probably one of the best types of fruits you can get your hands on because they're really good for grinding. So on your grinding journey, I definitely recommend using an elemental fruit for the first seed. But anyways, let's talk about the fruits themselves. The very first elemental fruit that I got here is the smoke fruit, and this is a fruit that costs a total of 100,000 belly or 250 Robux from the Blox fruit dealer. This is the weakest elemental fruit in the game, but that does have its pros because it costs pretty much nothing compared to the other elemental fruits. This fruit was added on January 16, 2019, and it's been in the game for quite some time now. But anyways, let's get into the abilities of the fruit. The very first ability we got here is called Smoke Slam, where you basically just slam the floor with smoke and deal a decent amount of damage. Then we got the X ability, which is called Smoke Blast, and for this one you just shoot out a huge smoke projectile. Then we got the C ability, and this one is called Smoke Liberation, where you literally just shoot out smoke all around you, dealing damage to everything you're standing next to. Next up we got the F ability, and this one is called Smoke Bomber, where you fly into the sky and just drop a bunch of smoke bombs under you. Overall, this fruit is really good because it's a really nice budget fruit, which means pretty much anyone can get it. You just have to save up a little bit. But the bad things are that honestly the range for this fruit is not very good, and it's really easy to dodge all its abilities. But then again, you're only using this as an elemental fruit, then it doesn't really matter how good the fruit itself is. Anyways, the next fruit that I got here is the flame fruit, and this is the first uncommon fruit on this list. It costs a total of 250,000 belly or 550 Robux from the Blox fruit dealer. And this fruit costs more than double of what the smoke fruit costs, so you can see the huge increase in the price already. This fruit was actually added at the same time as the smoke fruit, literally when the game started, making it one of the oldest fruits in the whole game. And unlike the smoke fruit, the flame fruit actually does have an awakening, which means you can actually upgrade it to a much better stage than most of the other fruits. Anyways, let's talk about the abilities themselves. First up, we got the Z ability, and this one is called Fire Bullets. Then we got the X ability, which is called Burning Blast, where you shoot out a huge projectile. Then we got the C ability, which is called Fire Column. Then we got the V ability, which is called Flame Destroyer. This is basically just a spirit bomb, where you just charge up energy above you and then you throw it to where you aim. Then we got the F ability, where you just kind of fly around with fire particles behind you. Anyways, moving on to Awakened version, the Z ability is called Blue Fire Bullets, and it's the same ability, but the fire turns blue. Then we got the X ability, which changes into Prominence Burst, which is actually an ability from My Hero Academia that Endeavor or Dob uses. I can't remember which one. Then we got the C ability, which is called Flaming Vortex, making it bigger and it deals a lot more damage. Then we got the V ability, which changes into Hell's Core, which is basically, it stays the same ability, but it does deal a lot more damage. Then we got the F ability, which changes into Rocket Fly, which makes the flying ability a lot faster. Overall, this fruit is honestly really good, but it's kind of in the in-between of being a budget fruit and a good fruit. So I'm not really sure you have any reason to buy this fruit, because if you want to go for a cheap fruit, then you should probably go for the smoke fruit, and if you want a better fruit, then you should go for something way higher up on this list. The flame fruit is just kind of unrealistic, I guess. Anyways, the next fruit that we got here is the ice fruit, and this fruit costs a total of 350,000 belly or 750 Robux from the Blox fruit dealer. And this fruit was also added at the very start of the game in January 16, 2019. But the ice fruit also has an awakening. But did you know that the ice fruit actually has two different passive abilities? The first passive ability is the Ice Trident, where you basically just get a free ice sword. The next passive ability is called Frost Water. Anyways, let's move on to the actual abilities of this fruit. First up, we got the Z ability, and this one is called Ice Spears. Then we got the X ability, which is called Ice Surge, where you just shoot out this huge crystal. Then we got the C ability, which is called Ice Bird, where you can shoot a bird at a player and it freezes them for a couple of seconds. Then we got the V ability, which is the special move, where you just create a bunch of ice, freezing everything around you. Moving on to the Awakened versions of these abilities, the Z ability changes into Cold Storm, where you just create a storm that deals damage to everything around you. The X ability upgrades to look a lot cooler and bigger. Then we got the C ability, which changes into Frozen Dragon, where you literally just spawn in the Ice Dragon. And you got the V ability, which changes into Absolute Zero, where you literally deal a butt ton of damage to everything around you and freeze the enemies for 2 seconds. When you awaken your fruit, you also unlock the F ability, which is called Ice Skating, where you can basically just ice skate literally anywhere you want. And it's honestly one of the best choices for a grinding fruit. Anyways, moving on, the next fruit that we got here is the Sand fruit. This is an uncommon fruit that costs a total of 420,000 belly or 850 Robux from the Blox fruit dealer. This fruit was added July 7, 2019 in update 4. And just like the previous two fruits on this list, this fruit also does have an awakening. It also has a passive ability, but this one isn't really a good one. It just makes it so that you take more damage in water, which is pretty low accurate, because everyone knows that in One Piece, Crocodile takes more damage to water. That's literally how Luffy defeats him. Anyways, let's get into the abilities themselves. The very first one that we got here is called Desert Sword. Then we got the X ability, which is called Desert Funeral, where you basically just full box someone in sand. Then we got the C ability called Sand Tornado, the V ability, which is called Heavy Sand. Then we got the F ability, which is called Sand Fly, which is literally the same as the flame ability, but they just retextured it. Moving on to the awakened abilities, the Z ability changes into Desert Blade. Then we got the X ability which changes into Sand Coffin, where you just full box your enemy in sand. And we got the C ability which changes into Sandstorm, where you just create a huge sand tornado that deals a lot of damage. Then we got the V ability which changes into Deep Sand, which literally just upgrades the bullet that you shoot out, making it do a lot more damage. Then we got the F ability which upgrades into Tornado Flight, which makes it so that you fly a lot faster. Anyways, moving on, the next fruit on this list is the Dark Fruit. This fruit costs a total of 500,000 belly or 950 Robux from the Blox fruit dealer. Just like a bunch of other fruits on this list, this was actually added to the game at the very start, literally in update 1. Can you even count that as an update? It's literally when the game started. The very first ability that we got here is called Dark Rocks. Then we got the X ability which is called Dark Spiral, where you create a miniature black hole. Then we got the C ability which is called Black Hole, where you create a black hole on the floor, which doesn't really make sense. In my opinion, the X ability should have been named Black Hole. Then we got the V ability which is called Dark Bomb, where you just charge up a huge darkness ball, and once the ball explodes, it creates a mini black hole. Anyways, moving on to the awakened version of the abilities. The X ability is called Dimensional Slash, where you just literally shoot out a slash that deals damage to everything in its path. And this is actually from the Black Clover anime. It's what Yami uses. Next up, we got the X ability called Abyssal Darkness, where you just shoot out a bunch of darkness vines that deal damage to everything that they hit. Then we got the C ability which changes into Endless Hole, where you just create a button of darkness around you and it deals damage to everything that it touches. And also expands the more that you hold the ability key. Next up, we got the V ability, and this one is called World of Darkness, where you just charge up a huge black hole and throw it to wherever you want. Next up, we got the F ability, and this one is called Ghastly Step. And this is basically just a flash step that's retextured. And honestly, this is one of the most useless movement abilities in the whole game, because you already have a flash step. Why do you need a second one? I guess it helps you travel faster, but it's just not cool. You just have the same ability twice. Anyways, the next fruit that we got here is pretty similar to the Ice Fruit. It's the Light Fruit. This fruit costs a total of 650,000 belly or 1,100 Robux from the Blox fruit dealer. This also has a passive sword ability. And just like the Ice Fruit, this also does have an awakening. First up, we got Divine Arrow, where you just charge up a bow and shoot out a butt ton of projectiles. Then we got Hand of the Emperor, where you just beam the crap out of your enemies. Then we got the C ability, which is called Lightspeed Destroy, where you just zip around your enemy and slam straight into them. Then we got the V ability, which upgrades into Wrath of God, where the meteors deal a lot more damage. Then we got the F ability, which changes into Shining Flight. This is an incredibly fast movement ability, literally the fastest in the whole game, where you can actually change the direction of your flying with the Light Fruit. Moving on from the Light Fruit, we got the Magma Fruit, and this is honestly one of the best grinding fruits in the whole game, second to the Buddha Fruit. It costs a total of 960,000 belly or 1,300 Robux from the Blox fruit dealer. And it also has really nice passive abilities. The first one is that you're completely immune to lava, and there's islands with lava in literally every single sea. Next up, we got the Magma Feed ability, for which literally just lets you walk on water, but you need the V2 for this. Then we got the Scorching Puddles passive ability, which makes it so that after you use any ability in the V2, it leaves behind a huge blob of magma that deals a lot of damage. Honestly, the V1 abilities of this fruit are not that good, so I'm gonna skip straight to the V2. First ability is called Magma Shower, where you shoot a butt ton of magma blobs. Then we got the X ability, which is called Volcanic Assault, where you grab your enemy and slam into them with a butt ton of magma force. Then we got the C ability, which is called Great Magma Hound, where you just shoot out a huge blob of magma. Then we got the V ability, which is called Volcanic Storm, where you slam the enemy with a butt ton of magma blobs that deal a lot of damage. Then we got the F ability, which is called Beast Rider, where you just ride on a huge magma blob and you can send it flying once you're done using it. Anyways, the next fruit that we got here is the Rumble Fruit. This fruit costs a total of 2,100,000 bellies, so it's a huge jump from the Magma Fruit. This fruit was added June 30th, 2019, and it's honestly a really cool fruit. But one of the cons of this fruit is that it cannot actually do damage to any rubber users, because if you watch One Piece, or I guess if you know basic science, you'll know that rubber is a really bad conductor, which means it can't take any damage from any type of electricity. Moving on to the abilities, the first one is called Rumble Dragon, where you just shoot out a small lightning projectile. Then we got the X ability, which is called Sky Thunder, where you just spawn in a butt ton of lightning all around you. Then we got the C ability called Sky Beam, where you just shoot down a huge beam from the sky. Then we got the V ability, which is called Thunder Bomb, where you charge up a Spirit Bomb and just throw it at your enemy. Then we got the F ability, which is called Lightning Dash, which is literally just a faster version of the basic dash you get, which is a pretty useless movement ability. Anyways, moving on to the awakened versions of these abilities, Lightning Beast literally changes into a lightning beast. You literally just shoot out a beast. Then we got the X ability, which changes into Thunderstorm, which just upgrades the base ability. Then we got the C ability, which changes into Sky Judgment, making it do a lot more damage. Then we got the V ability called Thunderball Destruction, where the Spirit Bomb you throw gets a lot bigger, but it is also a lot slower, so it's not really that good for PvP. The F ability changes into Electric Flash, which makes it so that you can spam the key 3 different times, which is honestly just better than being a basic dash. Moving on, the next fruit that we got here is the Blizzard Fruit. I remember they added this fruit literally right after I started playing the game. This fruit is a legendary fruit and it costs a total of 2.4 million belly or 2,250 Robux from the Blox fruit dealer. This fruit was added December 26, 2022 in update 17. The very first ability is called Snowflake Shuriken, where you just shoot out a bunch of shuriken made out of snow. Then we got the X ability, which is called Whiteout, where you just shoot out a tornado that kind of just spins around and does its own thing. Then we got the C ability, which is called Howling Wind, where you just shoot out a butt ton of wind that deals a lot of damage. Then we got the V ability, which is called Blizzard Domain, where you literally just create a blizzard which deals damage to everything around you, and this move lasts a total of 7 seconds. Then we got the F ability, which is called Tornado Flight, where you just hop on a snowy tornado and just kind of fly around dealing damage to everything that you touch. Anyways, moving on to the most powerful elemental fruit on this whole list, it's the Dough fruit. And this is actually the only mythical fruit in the game that's elemental, and in my opinion it's probably one of the best fruits in the whole game, but only for PvP. This fruit costs a total of 2.8 million belly or 2,400 Robux from the Blox fruit dealer. The very first ability of this fruit is to look just like this. Then we got the X ability, which has two different versions. We have the version where it grabs the enemy and slams them a bunch of times. Then we got the other version which just spawns in a huge spike from the floor. Moving on to the C ability, you grab them, swing them around, and then slam them into the floor. The V ability upgrades into Dough Fist for Sade, where we just pummel the crap out of the enemy. Then we got the F ability, which changes into Scorching Donut, which makes it so that you can ride it on water and up walls. And the texture also changes to look a little bit cooler. That's pretty much it.